In our first story, the governing New Patriotic Party is accusing former President Mahama of being responsible for the financial sector crisis, arguing poor management of the Mahama administration eventually led to the collapse of banks and the merger of others. The NPP has also refuted claims by the opposition NDC that the sudden decision to pay cash instead of the original scheduled bond payment to depositors of defunct financial institutions is influenced by the NDC's manifesto pledge. Addressing the party's weekly press conference here in Accra Monday afternoon, former communication director of the NPP, Nana Komia, drew a correlation between what he describes as poor management of the sector and the eventual crisis.
The NDC over the years has proven to be gravely inconsistent, especially under the leadership of Mr. Mahama. You will be better people to tell us the stance of President Mahama when he was president. He condemned free SHS. Taking a cue from him, his appointees and functionaries supported him in also condemning free SHS. They said if it was possible, President Nkrumah was the person who could have done it. They said it could be done only in 20 years. President Mahama said that anything that is free cannot have quality. You all remember those things. Today he's looking to the pages of their manifesto. He's promising a lot of free things. You remember how they took an innocent pastor, sermons that he had given 20 years earlier. They went and took his words, played them in advertising, say that this is the man of God, and he's saying that anything free is not good. So what has happened? What has changed? Why is President Mahama promising all this avalanche of free things in their manifesto? When you told Ghanaians that free was not good, and when you come and tell us in your manifesto that you are going to grow the Ghanaian economy, is it that when he is in opposition, he sees things differently? The test of leadership is when you are in office, when you actually have the power. That is the test of leadership. That is the real test of leadership. You also recall President Mahama saying to Ghanaians that we should be careful of promises made by people who are not in government. I'm sure you recall all these statements. That we should be careful about people making promises when they are out of government because they don't know the reality. So today he's out of government. He's making promises. Do we take him serious?
Well, elsewhere, the opposition National Democratic Congress is demanding an independent probe into some constituencies and the ongoing voter exhibition exercise. The party contends the new register has failed the credibility test as unique voter ID numbers have been handed to multiple voters. The party also alleges there are some polling stations where more than 200 names have vanished from the register, leaving just 7 individuals on it. Director of Elections Elvis Ifriyankra has been presenting findings from what he says is the party's assessment of the exercise so far.
The EC voter exhibition exercise commenced on Friday, September 18. The opposition party says hundreds of voters cannot find their names in what it believes to be a deliberate election rigging plot.
Our observations show widespread anomalies at various exhibition centers across the country. So far, our officials and agents have reported anomalies from all regions, including except Aswasi in the Ashanti region. So what I'm saying is that there are anomalies everywhere, but in Ashanti region, it is only in Aswasi that we are seeing major anomalies. So you can do your own analysis. This has already given us cause to believe that the anomalies and distortions in the register may be deliberate, as it is widespread in our strongholds.
The party also claims some registration of voters is still ongoing despite the exercise ending weeks ago.
EC officials were caught on video late at night, printing and laminating an unspecified number of voter ID cards. Obviously, this is one of the modern rigging techniques the EC has deployed going into this election. Our suspicion is that either the new ID cards were being printed for non-Ghanaians who are not eligible to vote or persons who did not register at all.
The EC has dismissed claims by Ashaiman MP Ernest Nogbe that his name could not be found in the register. The MP, however, insists the EC is being dishonest.
So upon persistent pressure, that was when you brought out 14,000, you reinstated, restored 14,000 people. Everybody has the right to complain. And in that also, we all have our right to vote. So no single person could sit anywhere to disenfranchise anybody, not at all. So I put that pressure and you brought a new register, reinstating my name. You see, the disparity here, or the dishonesty that I may say about the Electoral Commission is that you claim I was lying and that 21,000 people could not be missing on the register. But in your statement, you said there could be, incomplete transfer of data. Incomplete transfer of data, you are implicating yourself.
The party is urging its members to go all out and get verified to ensure the vote come December 7.
Still on election-related stories, newly elected Upper West Regional Chairman of the People's National Convention, the PNC, has pledged to work assiduously to ensure that the party is not only vibrant, but wins 2 parliamentary seats in the region. Alhassan Zakaria says he will ensure policies and programs proposed by the party are well communicated to the electorates. Mr. Alhassan polled 100 votes to defeat incumbent Upper West Chairman of the party, Said Nuhu Idrisu, who managed 35 at the regional delegates of the party held in Wa. Joe News Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam has more.
It was an election many expected to be a photo finish, but the margin of victory and defeat of the incumbent in the end was monumental.
At the end of counting, Said Nuhu polled 35 votes. Zakaria Alhassan polled 100 votes. Rejected vote is 1.
To Junairan Said Nuhu Idrisu's hope of retaining the PNC Upper West Regional Chair was flamed out by a 40-year-old political rookie, Alhassan Zakaria. By the time the results were declared, many of the over 200 delegates and supporters had left the auditorium. He addressed almost empty room, but he tried to fill it with hope and plans of winning 2 parliamentary seats for the party in the region and a political space that is getting to know him.
It's now going to be brighter. The silenceness of PNC is now going to either be on a loudspeaker or in vibration mode, but not in silence. And we are going to rebrand PNC. In this contest, there is no loser. The only loser I know is NDC, MPP. Sure. But the winner is for all of us, PNC. I am promising PNC that this year's election 2020, NDC MPP is not going to have it easy with us.
Sure.
And inshallah, God grace, PNC will get 2 parliamentary candidates in Upper West region. I'm not going to leave the old executive behind. They are full of wisdom. I'll work with them in order to bring success into the party.
The election was overshadowed by accusation of embezzlement of 16,000 Ghana cedis by the former regional secretary of the party, Kandoma John. Said Nuhu claimed was the reason why he lost.
People told me they have reported the case to the police. I said that was very wrong. If you report the case to the police, I'm not prepared to go and come in court to defend that case. You, the one who made the report, will go and defend the case. Because I asked, do you know the amount of money that I've been spending in other parties and they don't hear of it? I shouldn't be a victim to that effect. So that they will say that when PNC Regional Chairman Mr. Nuhu was in office, he made his secretary to be arrested because he has spent money. He said, I'm far from it.
You saw these allegations coming?
I saw it coming.
You decided to be quiet. Nothing about it?
Nothing.
And you went down with your secretary?
Yes.
Kandoma John, however, denied the allegations, saying they are the last kick of a dying horse. when you fall inside the river and you are drowning and you are struggling to survive, you hold on to anything that comes your way. And so I don't blame him. I feel sad for him because even if he should have lost the elections, not by this magnitude. Two flag-bearer aspirants of the party, Samson Awongobit Asaki and Reverend Samuel Ajay Debra, was on hand to address the delegates. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
Now, the paramount chief of Akrosue Sukoko traditional area in the Kratchi East municipality of the Oti region, Nana Odam Jemfi III, is urging the Volta River Authority to come to their aid and provide potable drinking water for the people in the area. According to the chief, the initial systems installed in all the resettlement communities have broken down. Nana Odam Jemfi III made the request during a fumigation and disinfection exercise organized by the VRA for all the resettlement communities in the Oti region. Peter Seno has more.
The fumigation and disinfection exercise started from the Sukoko Senior High School, where dormitories, classrooms, and toilet facilities in the school were disinfected. Pathos AIB, the company that did the disinfection and fumigation, also presented some of its products to the school for continuous best hygiene practices. Other busy schools in the area also benefited, as well as the chief's palace. The paramount chief of the Akroso Asukoko traditional area, Nana Odam Jemfi III, apart from expressing his appreciation, is also asking the Volta River Authority to consider improving access to potable drinking water in the area. He says the initial installations have all broken down in the various resettlement communities.
In fact, our major problem is water system. No potable water at all. We are just by the river, but it's not potable. No, not good for drinking. Anytime you go to hospital, when you are tested, you say you are suffering from typhoid, comes from the river. We pray that VRA should come and assist us. When we came first, they gave us a certain machine, but it couldn't last. All the resettlement communities, the machines are not working now. But we have gone to see some NGO. They provided this water, but they have gone without the services and they render to us. So we are praying, or we are appealing to VRA to come to our aid.
Pathos AIB again presented some disinfectants and sanitizers to the palace. Felix Dansu is the general manager. He's advising residents to continue to observe the various protocols in order not to be infected with the virus.
We want to encourage the general public to be very conscious of this pandemic and also geared to using natural products, especially around children. And when the government is preparing to reopen schools, our doors are open for the teachers and headmasters to come on board to see how best we can provide our services to the various schools to provide a very conducive environment for students to learn and study to be the people they aspire to be. I've been able to speak with the leaders of this community to continue with awareness. I think gradually, because the active cases are going down, the awareness and the euphoria is getting down, which is not. When you are winning, that is where you need to be more conscious and make sure that you observe the necessary protocol. So at this time that we are having less active cases, we shouldn't relent on observing these protocols before there is any spike.
Peter Hassan for Joy News.
And that's it for the bulletin. Stay with us. We've got plenty of stories to share when we look at the newspapers, and we check out what's also making headlines on myjoyonline.com. Oh, the police is certainly ready for the 2020 presidential parliamentary election. I'm not sure about the reduce your sexual rounds, though.
I don't know whether they are ready. It's all dependent on whether or not they reduce their sexual rounds. That's the caveat. I mean, I guess that explains why ECHO is very, very strong.
Oh, but I thought that helped, doesn't that rather help?
I don't know.
The footballers...
I don't know. I'm not a policeman.
But you're a man.
Yes, but this is coming from the police. He's leading men, and he knows what their problem is. So I will go with him.
Charlie, police, we beg you. The order is that reduce the session rounds. We need you to be very effective during, in fact, it's before, during, and after. So it begins now. Who will be monitoring?
Did you see the reaction of the men when he said that? They quickly went down and they were, you know.
All right, Joseph, you were missing yesterday, obviously, because of the holiday.
Yeah, I was celebrating Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day. It's an important day, so.
We had some lovely viewers join us via phone around just about this time, maybe, sharing their Nkrumah memories with us. And we had somebody who called, I think, Uncle Jacob, yes, who said he was 6 at the time. And he remembers the order to go and burn anything with Nkrumah's image on it, books and pictures, and he regrets now because he knows what those books, pictures could have done today. Yeah. So whilst you were celebrating, what did you say? Were you reflecting? Or?
I was celebrating. I mean, I was at home. I wrote an article for my journal line. I also.
Oh, I haven't read that. Yeah,
it talks about Nkrumah's actual date of birth. His actual date of birth is not.
It's not the 21st of September.
No. He also didn't believe he was born in 1909. At a point, he thought he was born in 1912. But he kept to the 21st September because 21st September 1909 is actually not a Saturday. And he says one thing that he was sure of was that he was a Saturday born.
Okay.
But his mom said he was born in mid-September. And so he wasn't too sure. So he thinks it should be 18th September sometime in 1912, perhaps. But he kept to the 21st September because that's what the priest who baptized him wrote as his date of birth. So he kept that throughout his life on official documents.
Okay. But the thing is, it was in September.
Yes, it was.
It was a certain year in September.
A certain year in September, yeah.
That's nice. Good history. Let's concentrate on the newspapers now. Yesterday we had just 3, but today they're all working again. The Daily Dispatch, the Graphic, the Finder, and the Business and Financial Times, as well as the Economy Times. I think these are the papers that I'll be concentrating on. So let's start with the Daily Dispatch, front page of the Dispatch. 5 of the key issues driving December 7 elections. The Daily Dispatch is highlighting on these 5 key issues in today's edition of the paper. I'll try and see if I can highlight on a few. For us, they say infrastructure, education, accommodation, economy and transport. I guess these are the 5. Also, text of Akufo-Addo's speech, nurses and midwives start nationwide strike. The Catholic Church on the Catholic priest who is now a judge. Very revealing, I guess, for those of us who otherwise just thought that once you're a Catholic priest, yours is just the church. Actually know of one who taught me, who's a lecturer. Yeah, great men of God who do great work in the church and also outside the church. And such people are actually very loaded because they have a lot to share, a lot of experiences. So it's a Catholic priest who has been appointed as Justice of the High Court, will no more perform his priestly duties in public. The Catholic Church has explained. The Catholic Church has told state-owned Daily Graphic in an interview that Reverend Father Joseph Owusu-Agyeman can only celebrate sacraments privately. Chancellor of the Kumasi Archdiocese of the Church, Reverend Father Peter Sapon, told the newspaper that apart from political appointments, the Church did not stop its priests from serving offices, including serving as lecturers to the security doctors, among others. I guess for me, what I pick from it, the fact that he has a lot of experiences in the church, he brings that, to where he is now as a high court judge, and that's what we should be celebrating, really, not the fact that he won't be able to do his priestly duties, but he's picking some great experiences from there onto where he's going now. It's really good. We need such men from across, not just academia, into places like the bench. All right, let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Daily Graphic. IMF reviews Ghana's growth forecast. Be circumspect in reportage. Kumasi MCE tells media as country goes to the polls. GES recruits 16,500 trained teachers. The Ghana Education Service has begun the process to recruit 16,500 trained teachers who completed the colleges of education last year. Earlier this year, the GES recruited 1,500 teachers in a special mop-up exercise for trained teachers who completed their studies in the 2017-2018 academic year but could not be recruited because they had challenges with their papers. You can read more of the story in the Daily Graphic. Quickly to the center spread. CPP commemorates Nkrumah Memorial Day with wreath laying. That story is in the center spread. There's a photograph with Ivor Kobna Green Street with some members of the CPP in front of Nkrumah's statue. And you can read the rest of it in the center spread. Also, Ministry of Health to introduce wellness program. Let's sustain peace ahead of December elections, according to stakeholders at the National Summit. They emphasize the need to sustain the prevailing peace in the country ahead of the December 7, 2020 polls. On the back page, government urged to develop share value chain and concrete road in Tema Industrial Zone 85% completes. Let's do the Finder, front page of the Finder. Dismissed case of CSOs against government over Tiwa forests. AG is making a strong case. I've seen this in, I think, more than 2 of the papers. Ghana develops pruner cum harvester for cocoa farmers, and Mahama presided over the mess. Nana Komia says MPP inherited 418 financial institutions on the verge of collapse. Laid off GCNet staff demand outstanding salaries and severance package. Let's build united, prosperous, stable, secure ECOWAS. President Akufo-Addo, as he paid a visit to the commission in Abuja. Okay, Akable?
We can do the front page of the Daily Guide now. It has the story from Abuja. President visits ECOWAS head office. And Mahama Zongo Mortuaries Park debate, also on the front page.
Mahama Zongo Mortuaries?
Yes. He had an interview where he said they'll be building some mortuaries for the Zongos. And this morning I was listening to a gentleman at the our car park. He was drawing a correlation between the pledge to build mortuaries and the pledge to legalize Okada. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, so that is it for the front page.
Some people can be very mischievous.
Yeah, but that was his own analysis. I'm not too sure that analysis is sanctioned by the NDC. But MPP replies NDC on Ashanti neglect, and NDC begs for crowd to welcome Nana. Also on the front page, government releases 3.56 billion to pay rest of depositors. The back page has this story about CAF chief, others mourn Coates accident victims. And yesterday I saw a story on myjoyonline.com about the executive committee of the Ghana Football Association deciding that their salary for, I think, September, they will be giving it to the victims. And I understand the figure comes up to some 59,000 cedis or so.
Okay.
Yeah, very unfortunate incident there. The road crash is still robbing the nation of people who would have played various roles.
Absolutely.
Going forward.
And a lot of footballers can relate because people go through all sorts of things to become the footballers, the world-class footballers that we see today.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what is most heartbreaking, because these young people just wanted to realize their dreams, and they started from the very bottom, fighting all through. Just lost their lives in this.
I mean, it's a reminder of why we must take steps to minimize all forms of carnage, whether it's COVID-19, whether it's accidents, whether it is simple headache or whatever form of disease it is. I mean, because we don't know the talents that we are losing.
Absolutely.
This could have been the next Tariq Lamptey, whom we are chasing from in England. It could have been the next Messi. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with the other accident victims who could have been presidents, ministers, the people who would change the nation in ways that we all wanted to be changed. And so, I mean...
Talking about football, though, was it Borussia Dortmund? I saw a Twitter post, about the Nkrumah Memorial Day. If you haven't seen it, I'm just going to look for it. We'll try and put it on the screen. I felt really, really proud.
Yeah, I mean, they know the world history quite well, and they know Ghanaian history too, and they know who the Osagyefo is.
Yeah.
But on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, while you pull up that tweet for us, patients stranded, hospitals deserted as nurses, midwives lay down tools. That is on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. I have a relative who is a doctor who was telling me yesterday that, I mean, he was explaining to me how crucial the nurses are and saying that if they are not there, they are better off just closing down the hospitals.
Absolutely. Who is going to prepare the patients?
No one. It means they just have to either walk in, which becomes too much work for them, and just stresses them out. I mean, quite unfortunate.
Let's look at the Borussia Dortmund tweets, the happy hashtag Nkrumah Memorial Day to all our friends and family in Ghana. Yeah, this was it. Ah, yeah, it's good to be recognized. Even by others that you least expected, they would notice you.
Yeah.
Get what I mean?
Yeah.
And Nkrumah is such a big figure in our country. And people everywhere are absolutely proud of our first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Okay.
Still on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we will deal with police personnel who indulge in partisan politics. Is coming from the Inspector General of Police. And President pays visit to offices of ECOWAS Commission in Abuja, also on the front page. The back page of the Ghanaian Times has a lot of donation stories and disinfection stories there. So I can move to the Daily Statesman. That will be the last one for me this morning. Nana B enumerates NPP's achievements in Ashanti region and what you need to know about the senior high school placement system. And Akufo-Addo is a caring leader. NPP lauds president for protecting funds of 4.6 million Ghanaians. And we need a more united ECOWAS, is coming from the chairman, our own Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The back page of the Statesman has this story about Liverpool beating Chelsea over the weekend.
Please say it again.
Liverpool beat Chelsea.
Nice.
But the paper inserts the fact that it was a 10-man Chelsea.
Oh, Massa, who cares?
Ronaldo helps Pello start with win as Juve boss, also on the back page of the Daily Statesman. I'm sure Rico will come with all those details for us. Any stories of interest for you?
Yeah. You know, you mentioned the mortuary story, and I just realized that we've got the National Enquirer newspaper. Okay. And it says ahead of the December elections, NDC devises new strategy, one lawyer, one collation center, as it debunks Zonko mortuary claims. Okay. Just trying to catch details of it. Maybe I may have to do it later. But it looks like the mortuary is not true.
It's actually true. I read a statement from the office of the former president, and the clarification they put across was the story that had been couched created the impression that that is the only pledge the president is making for the Zongo communities. And so he explained that he had listed a series of measures that they intend to roll out for the Zongo communities, and this was a point that he was just making about the demands that had been made when he visited those areas. So it's not a case that is the only pledge that they had made to the Zongo communities. And so if that impression is being created, and that impression is not accurate. Okay,
so the version in this paper also says that a spokesperson of Mr. Mahama, James Ajeni Boateng, is clarifying the reports put out. And he says that Mr. Mahama was only acknowledging concerns about how traditional mortuaries handle the loved ones of Muslims when they pass on. Here's a quote. Mr. Mahama quoted the specific section of the People's Manifesto which addressing the issue and aims at... and the print is faded, so I can't see everything clearly. But, you know, you might want to try your eyes at it, maybe, and grab the paper and read. But you say that it's not just that.
Yes, I saw the statement.
It's part of many other promises he made targeting at the Zongo communities.
Yes, they had a plan for the Zongo communities, and he was explaining that this was one issue that had come up in the course of the compiling the People's Manifesto, and so it's something that they'll be doing. But he says the story that was created the impression that that is the pledge, or that is what the NDC intends to do for the Zongo community, just that, and that is what he said was inaccurate, which they wanted to correct.
Okay. All right, and there's also another story in the paper that was picked from The Lockdown with MFR Power. It says founder of Perez Chapel International, Bishop Charles Agyinasare, has urged the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensa, to remain neutral in the performance of her duties in the upcoming December polls. According to him, the unique nature of this year's elections demands that she remains exceptionally neutral and unbiased throughout the electoral process to prevent the country from sinking into chaos. You can read more on that as well. The BNFT, maybe the final one, agriculture withstands pandemic shock to record growth industry services contracts, economists calls for inclusive policies to sustain growth. And then the Ghana Revenue Authority has said it is taking steps to address the recent brouhaha and accusations regarding under-declaring of taxes among telecommunications companies in the country, saying it is working on forwarding letters to them in the move to retrieve the lost monies. Other stories in the paper as well. Anything that you want to...
Yes, there's this story on page 14 of the Daily Guide. It's a story that, we told here on Joy News about this young man who put together this car.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and he's quoted as saying that people thought I was going mad. Yeah, the BEC student who assembled a car from scrap has said neighbors thought he was going mad when he set out on his journey to build his car. According to him, he didn't have money to buy all parts of the car, so he went searching for scraps everywhere, including refuse dumps. So as a result, people thought he was going mad because he was moving from place to place to pick parts from the floor while looking untidy. And so, this is, I was impressed when I saw it. He just completed the junior high school.
He actually drove the car to write his exam.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Yeah. And I see what he's saying, like people thought he was mad. That's how we see it.
Yeah.
Once we see you go into a place that we find not clean, we just assume that you are not correct.
Yeah, so that is the car on your screens there.
Meanwhile, he's been totally innovative.
And that's the point. The fact that he built it from scrap, and so that tells you what he could do if he has access to the things he actually needs.
Yeah.
And so these are things that don't actually have any use, and he's been able to assemble it in this manner.
We've got the assembly plants in Ghana now, the VW and yeah. So we should let him first of all spend a bit of time there and see how they also do it. This is a great talent.
Shouldn't just throw him in the pool of going into cinema.
And we shouldn't just be acknowledging him and be mentioning that he's done this. We should take it a step further. See, you do these things so that you can get the recognition. It's not just the fame, but you want to be seen and helped. That's it, like next level.
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing. I would sit here and somebody would just come and take him away from
I think I prefer this car to your car, Mavi.
Oh, that's fine.
I hope you're not upset.
No, I'm not. No.
It's a nice car.
You're free to choose. All right. Any other stories, Joseph?
Cinemas, nightclubs, beaches still closed.
Yes.
Coming from President Akufo-Addo. And
but does it feel that these centers are even closed?
The cinemas are closed, that I know. The nightclubs, some of them are hiding behind the open air. Some time ago they opened up the open air pubs.
Which is the
ones that don't have roofs. So a lot of them, some that have roofs, they are pretending to
be open.
And so
I think we were not patronizing the cinemas that much even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I haven't heard people complaining, as in those who patronize.
Because then it's not an activity that you have a lot of people going there. But I actually think, if we are opening the stadiums to 25% capacity, said October 30, I think we should get to that point, because the cinemas too, they are huge spaces, you can space out people.
But we still have to be cautious, especially because there's a second wave in many of the other countries.
Fair point.
Ours is not like that, but it doesn't mean that we're out of the woods yet. So we just have to be cautious. I know there are people even thinking that with the football, why do we even have spectators at all? Why don't we just do what we've seen with the Premier League, the English Premier League, for instance?
When I heard the president, I quickly understood why. It's financial reasons. Our league, our clubs thrive on the attendance at stadiums. And with the cost of this whole testing regime that they are rolling out, if there's no means of ensuring some form of income. In fact, even with 100% attendance, some of the clubs were not recording 25% attendance, actually.
True.
The only clubs that were doing well has to do with Kotoko and Hearts of Oak. So if you are fortunate, you are playing Kotoko, you can, get in your stadium filled. If you are fortunate, you are playing Hearts of Oak, you can get your stadium filled. Even Hearts of Oak in Accra.
Oh, how about the Legon one?
The Legon cities, they were also doing quite well. It's a way of raising a bit of money for it, but it's a fair point to make that I think that was also a key aspect of the president's message, warning that, even though active case count is less than 1,000. We're around 500 and something now. It's important for us to continue wearing a mask, wash your hands regularly. Some of you have stopped washing your hands, and I saw some vehicles in town over the weekend. I mean, they're trotro as usual.
Yes, that's very common now. I think it is rather strange when you see people wearing the mask.
Yeah, because they are isolated. They are the odd ones out there. But I mean, COVID-19 is still around.
I don't know if it has occurred to you before. There are times that you want to step in the place and you pick your mask from your car and you realize that there's nobody else wearing the mask around. So you're thinking, should I wear it or not? Would I look like I am being too known?
It happened to me on Friday, actually. One of these open air clubs, I stopped by to buy some food in the evening. When I walked in, someone walked to me and told me to take off my mask. Yes, they were all not in masks. He said, cover the co. I just looked at him strangely and I said, oh, okay, that's fine. I just walked in and I moved
I think what is also interesting is that have you heard the police arresting people for not wearing the mask?
Enforcement is on a decline now.
Because the president re-emphasized that aspect of that legislation.
In fact, he says so until December 14, 2020, the wearing of masks remained mandatory, and he made a point that the law enforcement agencies will continue to enforce that particular law. But I mean, clearly it's not being enforced as aggressively as it was some time back. I mean,
absolutely. Feels like there's no COVID around. There are a lot of people with that belief, by the way, and totally not concerned about even the figures, what we're recording, even though we're recording little compared to what's happening in other places, or even the kind of fear and caution when we started recording cases in Ghana. People simply don't care. Let's do myjoyonline.com. See what's happening on our page, myjoyonline.com, on this day, Joseph.
So it has patients stranded at hospitals nationwide as health workers strike bites. Reduce your sexual rounds. Please advise to save energy for election security.
Charlie, we should be more. If you know a policeman, please be monitoring. If you live with a policeman, because we need them to do a good job for us in the elections. They've been asked to reduce their sexual drive. So
yeah.
If you know a policeman or a policewoman.
Well, that story about Memorial Day special, Nkrumah's actual birthday and other interesting facts.
That's your article?
Yes, you can find it on myjoyonline.com.
I am going to read it.
Yeah. It talks about whether he likes food or not. It also talks about his views on homosexuals and other interesting facts.
Okay.
So you can find
I listened to Samia. Samia shared with another person. I think you shared that post where she appeared on the BBC on their program, The Conversation, and she was talking about how she even learned things about her father reading books because she was so little. The man was absolutely so busy, and so she had to learn who her father was from reading his books and learning from the people who worked with him.
Yeah. She lost out on her father so that all of us could have him and talk about him later on.
Yes. Yeah.
And still some more stories. Ashaman MP accuses EC of gross dishonesty after claiming 21,000 names were omitted from voters' register. And CPP shall return to rescue Ghana from NDC and MPP. Is coming from Ivor Green Street.
They shall. Indeed.
Yes. Kwame Nkrumah is an iconic figure worth celebrating. It's coming from the NDC's Mahama. And Mali Junta picks former defense minister as transitional president. That is interesting.
You know, they insisted on a military leader leading the transition team.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that, you know, because you needed to compromise.
Well, but a former defense minister, I mean, it begs the question that the defense minister the defense ministry oversees the military. And so the question will not help but ask.
But is he a military person?
He's not a military person now. But the question is, the one who asked the question that, I mean, has he worked closely with this man before? Obviously, yes. Was he in some form of alliance with them even proud?
Is he a civilian?
Yes, he says. So he meets the bill as was set out by ECOWAS.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's a fair question to still ask. I mean, you never know who to trust in such circumstances. But this last story has to do with patients at Sandema Hospital left to their fate also on the front page. And this morning,
because of the strike.
Yes, we brought the story. The registered nurses are saying they are still going ahead with the strike. I mean,
because they have not been served.
Yes, that's what they say. And I heard the Labour Commission say that they are evading service and that they had called them to try and serve them, including their secretary, who said that they had been instructed not to receive it. And I've heard others also make the point that they are striking when the iron is hot.
That's it.
It's closer to election, so there's a time that you
need it to buy. You need to. But I've also heard about the posturing, in the negotiation table, and how the employer is not either being, what's the word to use, taking on a certain posture that's not giving them enough confidence.
More like an entrenched position and not being open to
something like that. Yeah, but this is a very critical moment because they have a good point. Listen, they say that things that they negotiated 4 years ago, nothing happened, and then they've had to work hard to this point. They're still negotiating. I mean, something must give, and this is but I have issues with. So Labour Commission went to court on Friday to stop the action, but did they see this coming? We have to be more proactive and try and resolve the issues instead of wait and drag and let them get to the point where they say we've laid down our tools and then we think that we can go to court and secure an action to stop them from embarking on what they have called. It's not good enough. We all have to be, you have to be fair with them.
And when people get frustrated and they are not being heard for so long, I mean, we spoke to the registered nurse, the president. He says they are just trying to intimidate us and they are going ahead. They don't care about any contempt or anything. I mean, you can understand the pain and the frustration. We need to get to the point where always when workers are making demands, they just rubbish them and keep telling them, oh, we are working on it, we are working on it, we are working on it. And then when they go on strike, you hear people criticizing them as if they are the ones who are to blame. But I mean, if someone had listened to them, we wouldn't have gotten to where we have gotten.
Absolutely. Over 80,000 of them, by the way. This is across the country. You can't joke with that. We've got sports. We will talk about this matter as well with the nurses, assistant physicians, and there are other related groups who are embarking on this action. Oracle is up next with sports. Nurses and midwives across the country embarked on a strike, a nationwide strike yesterday. It's day 2 of that action. Yesterday, we monitored the situation from the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. My colleague and our roving man, Emmanuel Kranting, is at the Rich Hospital, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital this morning. He'll bring us a situational report. We'll cross over and go to Tamale, the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and touch base with Martina Bugre, who will also be bringing us up to speed with what's happening there. But first, let's go to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, the Rich Hospital, with Manuel. Manuel, what's the situation there this morning? Any different from what you reported from the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital yesterday?
Well, Mavi, absolutely nothing different.
Well, we apologize there. We seem to have issues with the sound. Manuel's sound is not audible, so we're going to work on that and link up with Manuel Kranting in a short while. But in the meantime, let's go to Martina Bugre, who's reporting from the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Martina, good morning to you. What can you tell us with the strike and the impacts at the Tamale Teaching Hospital?
Currently, I am at the where the women would normally come for antenatal. And you can see behind me some women who are here, but there's nobody to attend to them. And so they've been here since morning, and up till now, no one is attending to them. Now, I went to the OPD, which is the entry point into the hospital. And I must say that the place is very empty. Nobody is there. Those are the files department will tell you that go and see the doctor. If the doctor is ready to attend to you, then you can come for your file. And that has been the situation. It looks like the message has gone far and wide. And so at the OPD, the place is empty. I also went to the emergency ward where I'm told that they are not taking in new patients. What they are doing right now is those on admission, they are taking care of. And so at the TTH, I would say that the strike action is biting really hard. Now, what makes the Tamale Metropolis or the Northern Region a peculiar issue is that here we don't have too many private hospitals. You cannot count up to 5 well-equipped health centers which can help people in times of need. And so it makes the region, the situation more difficult for us in the Northern Region.
And Martina, have you had any of the doctors in particular, because I understand it's impossible for them to even do their work without the nurses?
Doing discharges, but as it stands now, it doesn't look like they will be able to work, because who is going to receive the patient, who is going to take the vital statistics, who is going to lead the patient to the doctor? I met someone who's been booked for surgery today. It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
What are the other patients that you've seen on the ward, those who have come to the facility? What have they been telling you?
Well, what some told me was that they have attended to them since they've been here, but it doesn't look like it would last long.
Well, Martina Bugiri is still monitoring the situation from the Northern Region, Tamale Teaching Hospital. That's where she is currently. She'll be bringing us more updates. Martina Bugiri there. We'll cross over to the Ridge Hospital, the Accra Regional Hospital, where Manuel Kranting is also stationed. We'll bring you that update as well. Manuel, hopefully we can hear you because we lost.
Hello.
Yes, Manuel, we can hear you now. Explain what's happening there.
Great. So, like I was saying before, you lost contact with me. Well, the Ridge Hospital doesn't have any different picture. Just as we saw at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital yesterday, we are having the numbers building up here. I could count well over 200 patients who are lurking around, expecting, the arrival of the nurses. They've been told that the nurses are on strike. I've seen that the records folks have been doling out some numbers to them to assist them in, as it were, counting. Well, I see doctors, trying to walk to the ward, but essentially what you have is in your shot now, some of the patients who are fervently, hoping that the nurses will come to work today. And so the picture, in fact, the tussle between the nurses and then the employer, government, seems to be going on regardless of the fact that the NLC, National Labour Commission, says it has secured that injunction to prevent them from embarking on their ongoing strike. They are maintaining that they've not received and they've not been served. And so they're still going ahead with the strike this morning. And so now you could see quite better the numbers that are building up here at the Ridge Hospital. All of these people are expecting to be attended to by the nurses. Regularly, you would have had the nurses on nightly duties taking care of them by now. But as you may already know, yesterday there were no nurses who reported to work. That has spilled over this morning, and you're having the numbers building up. So I'm going to try to speak to a few of the patients here and try to, find out from them how long, for instance, they've been here, where they're coming from, what they are expecting, to receive here, whether or not they're even hopeful, really, that the nurses will come to work this morning. So I'm going to try to speak to this man here. He's already agreed to speak to me. So, boss, good morning.
Good morning.
Great. You have been here, since when?
Yeah, I came around 5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. Yeah. And I'm like, well, it's almost 7:30.
Okay.
And you're still here?
Yes.
But what did they tell you when you got here?
They said the nurses are on strike, but they are hoping they will come. So they've taken our cars and everything. So we are waiting for them to come so that they will see us. Then the doctors will also take off us. Yeah.
Well, pretty much the same picture we saw yesterday. We were hoping that the nurses would come to work, but we didn't see them coming to work. Are you hopeful that you see them?
Yeah, we are hopeful that they will come, yeah.
But where are you coming from, anyways?
Oh, Kanda Estate.
All the way from Kanda Estate, and you've been told that the nurses are not working today.
Yes.
So in the event, the most, very likely event that they don't come to work today, what are you going to do?
Oh, I'll assist my doctor. My doctor will be coming, so I'll assist the doctor, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still see your doctor?
Yeah.
But so that's what he's telling me. He's telling me that, well, you still see his doctor anyways. And Mama V, just a picture. This is really taking a toll on the smoothness of the work that the doctors themselves do. Yesterday I was at Korle Bu, and they told me that the absence of the nurses in itself is an impediment to the food, because they have to take their vital information and so on. All these things are not being done. And it's not only the nurses who are on strike. You have the anesthetists also on strike with their allied members. And so it's quite vast, the extent of coverage of this strike action. I'll try to speak to a few more people. Back here, there are a lot more of the people who have been giving their numbers. And I'll try to ask them what numbers they have, and how soon, if at all, the nurses come to work this morning, how soon they are going to access the facility. And so let me get a bit closer to the man here. Hello, good morning. Good morning. So my name is Wano. What's your name?
My name is Vinolia.
Vinolia. Auntie Vinolia, you've been here. How long have you been here?
About, let me say, 2 hours ago. I was here around 4:59. Almost 5 o'clock I was here.
Almost 5 o'clock. Yeah. And what did they tell you when you got here?
They said the nurses are on strike. That's what they tell us. So we should wait. Whether they will come or not, they will see what they will do about it. And that's what they told us. So
but how long have you been told to wait? Did they give you a specific duration that you're going to wait?
No, they said we should wait. Let me say about 15 minutes ago. That's what they told us.
So you are hoping that the nurses will come?
I'm not sure they are coming.
Okay.
I'm not sure they are coming because we have waited for about 30 minutes now. They are not coming.
You are not sure they are coming. But what are you going to do?
We are waiting. If the doctors will say we should come, then we'll go to the doctors. What they will do to us, then we accept it.
Okay. So what number did they give you?
I'm number 8.
Number 8.
Yes.
That means you came quite early.
Yes.
Okay. So if they don't come, you leave here?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you're getting a picture. More people just torn between whether or not the nurses are going to come this morning. Some of them deciding that we'll just see the doctor and leave. If we don't see the doctor also, we'll leave anyways. My boss, she's saying that she's going to leave. She's number 8. Which number are you?
She's my wife.
Oh, she's your wife, and you brought her here. Are you confident that the nurses are going to come?
Like by now, they should have been in, but since they are not in, we are waiting some more to see what will happen.
Yeah. In the event that they do not come,
then we have no option than to go home.
But how serious is your wife's condition?
No, not it's me, myself. Yeah. Well, I get a broken leg, so I'm here for review.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have an appointment already?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm in for review. I want to see the doctor.
All right.
Yeah.
So he's here to have a review. He has a broken leg. And you're getting a picture that, the strike is indeed disrupting all of these appointments. Yesterday at Korle Bu, a lady who had an appointment at the cardio center had to be turned away because the nurses who were going to have first of all, assessed her before she saw the doctor were not around. And that is seeming to be the picture that is building up in almost all the health facilities. And even here at the Ridge Hospital, I've seen a man around who has been giving them the numbers. I want to find out what really his confidence is, giving them the numbers and not just telling them what it is that the nurses are not coming. But I'll try to speak to a few more people before that. My boss, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Great. So how long have you been here?
About an hour and a half, I think so.
An hour and a half. You're what number are you?
29.
29, far back. What are you here to do?
I'm on a referral.
Referral from which hospital?
From a private clinic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did they tell you when you got here?
Well, they have taken my distance, but they say I should wait. They don't know whether the nurses will come.
Okay.
I have to go and see a specialist. That's why.
And so why are you waiting? Why not maybe find another place and go?
Well, I'm waiting to see what will happen. Yeah, because I'm purposely referred to this place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been purposely referred to this place. So some people also having been referred to the Ridge Hospital as you're having it this morning, and that's generally what's happening here. More and more people trooping in to the Ridge Hospital to access healthcare. The bad news, however, is that the nurses who would have attended to them are not on duty this morning, which means that, well, whether you like it or not, you'd have to wait. So there are two options. Either you wait or you move away. But this man behind here has been doing something. He's been giving them numbers so that in the event that the nurses come, there's an orderly, progress of events here. And so I'm going to try to speak to him right now and get what the intention really is. My boss, good morning, sir. Yes, sir, good morning. So, would you been giving them numbers?
Yes, I've given them numbers.
But what do you do here yourself?
We are the record officers.
Okay.
So, our duty is to give the patient numbers.
Okay.
So we are waiting for the nurses to come.
Okay. But what's the level of communication between yourself and the nurses?
Well, we learned they were on meeting. So, don't know what will happen to the meeting.
Okay.
So we are waiting for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so it means that they've come to work, but they are meeting.
Yes.
So the nurses are on the premises.
I don't know.
Okay.
I learned from some sources that they are having some meetings. So I don't know the place they are having the meeting.
Okay. So in their absence, yesterday, for instance, you had the progress of the day in their absence. How was it like yesterday?
Yesterday, in fact, I was not here.
Okay.
I was not here.
But ordinarily, what will it be like today? How is it going to be if they don't come?
If they don't come, I think they have to report to the director of the hospital.
Okay. So the numbers keep building up. Do you have space to accommodate all the numbers that are building up? It's just 7:30 this morning, and the numbers keep building up.
Oh yes. Since almost 7:30, the number has raised up to 86.
Okay.
So we are now having patient number 86.
Okay.
So we are waiting for the nurses to come.
Okay. Would they be able to access, or have access to the doctors without the nurses?
No, we don't have any access unless the nurses come.
So if the nurses don't come, no patient will be seeing a doctor today?
For that one, I can't tell.
Okay, great. So this is a picture of what's happening here. The man has been giving out numbers to the patients who are here to access health care. The doctors, well, some of them are around, but they are waiting for the nurses who are, if you like, the first point of call before anything happens in the hospital. All of them, without anyone left out, all of them are not available. And so these are the pictures here, the patients stranded, hoping that the nurses will come. Whether or not they come, we'll try to bring you the pictures as they progress this morning. So from the Ridge Hospital, Greater Accra Regional Hospital, my name is Manuel Cranting for joining us. Mamavi.
Yes, Manuel, thank you very much. Manuel is still monitoring the situation there. And if there are new development, he will certainly bring us up to speed. Our roving man, Manuel Cranting, reporting there from the Ridge Hospital, also known as the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. So you see patients waiting. They've been given numbers. The last count from that report is 86 or so. Waiting to see if the nurses would come forward and prepare them so they can see the doctors or the consultant. We will be telling you what the situation is, even as patients stand by, wait to see what happens. This is not just happening at the Greater Accra Hospital. We've had report from Martina Bugri, from the Tamale Regional Hospital as well. And indeed, this is the picture across the country. It's a struggle for better conditions of service, the nurses say, also backed by physician assistants and certified anesthetists. Let's speak to a labor consultant on this developing issue. Mr. Mohammed Afum joins us for a conversation. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
I'm sure you've been following this development. The registered nurses say, for instance, that there was a meeting called last Friday and they thought it was going to be a continuation of the negotiations for better service conditions. But it turned out that the employer was simply interested in knowing why they wanted to embark on a strike. And so they've decided to go on this strike. We know the National Labour Commission has secured an interim injunction to stop them, but they say they have not been served. So this action is still effective. How can we resolve this?
Well, thank you. It is very regrettable that a section of health workers have embarked on a strike during this pandemic, which is very, very frightening. I believe that the nurses and the employer will look at the seriousness of the situation and then go back to the negotiation table for negotiations to continue in a bid to reach agreement on the outstanding issues. That if there is a deadlock, I expect that they will do what the law requires by going to the National Labour Commission for them to institute a panel of arbitrators for compulsory arbitration to be done to resolve the matter within 2 weeks.
No, you kindly come again. You said compulsory arbitration, but this is who is supposed to take that action? Who is supposed to make that move? Right now, is the employer that's suffering from this action, isn't it?
Yeah, what is happening is that the labor law has categorized certain sectors as essential services, including the health service, the health sector, where the workers and the employers are prohibited on lockout or strike. But this prohibition has been compensated by expeditious resolution of the dispute when it occurs. The law states that when a dispute in essential service occurs, the worker and the employer are required to strive to negotiate in good faith and then reach agreement within 3 days. If there is a deadlock, then they have to go to the National Labour Commission to undergo what we call compulsory arbitration, and the award of the arbitrator is final and binding, and that will end the dispute. So this is what the law requires for the dispute to be resolved in essential service.
Okay.
Because the law recognizes that when there's a strike or lockout in essential service, it can result in a total loss of life, pose a danger to health and safety, and undermine the national economy. And that is why the law has prohibited essential service workers or employers from embarking on lockout or strike.
Okay, but at this point, should we be going strictly according to what the law says, or we should find another kind of language to speak?
My view is that I expect the leadership of the workers and the Fair Wages Commission that leads public sector negotiations on behalf of government to convene immediately and then continue the negotiations. And as I did say, if there's a deadlock, they should go to the Labour Commission for them to trigger compulsory arbitration measures to have the matter resolved within 2 weeks while they are called off the strike.
Could that have been done instead of this interlocutory injunction that the National Labour Commission went to court for to stop the nurses from embarking on the action?
I believe that the National Labour Commission went to court because the union, which is the workers, defied the law and backed on strike. You know, as I indicated, the labor law says that essential service workers have been prohibited from embarking on strike. And in that regard, I also believe that when they are negotiating with the employer, both parties should negotiate in good faith. Parties should not delay unnecessarily. Parties should answer questions. Parties supply information so that negotiation takes place with the purpose of reaching agreement. And that those from the management side who are negotiating, to the people who have been given sufficient mandate, take decisions. If all these things are not there, then you may have a situation where the workers will decide that the employer is not negotiating in good faith, and therefore we should use the weapon that we have at our disposal, and that is strike. And it's very unfortunate that strikes do not, are disruptive, to the economy, to society, and it may result in death where you have workers in essential service like nurses and physician assistants embarking on strike.
Well, Mr. Afum, we thank you very much for your time. That's a labor consultant there. Let's also stay with the phones. Let's speak to Deputy Employment and Labor Relations Minister Bride Reku-Brobe. Good morning to you. Thank you for your time. How do you intend resolving this current issue? Is day 2 of the strike that's been called by the Ghana Registered Midwives Association. It's also backed by the physician assistants and the registered anesthetists. Over 80,000 of them were told, and we've been monitoring the situation from some facilities across the country. Patients are waiting, doctors are available, but they can't see them without first being prepared by the nurses.
Yes, Mama V, good morning and good morning to your cherished viewers. I actually just granted an interview to your sister station, and I thought that you'd have picked both. But what I said earlier was that, in fact, matters of this nature are not resolved by one ministry. They are matters that come and must be looked at from all perspectives. So the the mother ministry, which Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, and all the institutions that matter come together to resolve this. So certainly they take time. The nurses will agree with you that these matters that they have brought are not matters that emanated even a year ago. They are matters that have, been there with us since probably 2000 or even earlier.
Isn't that why it is very surprising that we haven't been able to resolve it and it has come to this?
But the question you must also ask, is it the reason why 2 months to elections you must hijack everybody and say you are going on strike? No. These matters have been on the table, and this government has been the most responsive since 1992. They have been the most responsive. All the chronology of events, the meetings that we have had with all these bodies emanate and are initiated by us. So you can talk to them. All the meetings that we have had are coming from us. Fair Wages and Salaries Commission will write to these bodies and ask them to bring proposals. They will bring the proposal, you write to them again. But remember that they have to always come to the superiors to seek mandate. And these are called negotiations. So when you go to the table, you go to the table and something is not acceptable, you come back. So negotiations have not stalled. The law took all of this into consideration. We are at a stage where we are still talking. We are still talking. We are still negotiating. So if one party says, I am resorting to a lockout or strike, and more so, this is an essential service. The law anticipates all of these things.
Sir, it's a bit hard to understand why, if you were talking and you were progressing with that conversation, they will suddenly say that they are laying down their tools. What went wrong?
No, anytime you say you are laying down your tools means that you have spoken with this person. The law says if you come to a stage where the other party is not being responsive or is not meeting your end, you have some 7 days, you have some 3 days. The law anticipates all of these things. Why are the nurses and midwives not sticking to this timeline? You have to ask them. The law, Mama V, the law that allows you this morning to come to work without any problem, without anybody meeting you and hitting your car, without anybody, harassing you. This same law is what has asked us to do what Labour Commission has gone to do. Labour Commission itself is lame. So it went to High Court, secured an injunction within 24 hours, just to tell you that please hold on, and that you have consequence. So they may ask, probably you are not fighting for them. But if the law says that stop, it's the nicest way to tell your people that yes, we wanted to embark on this and press home our demands. But the law says we can't do that. The law that enables you to wear your uniform and go to work. So that's what we are saying. I'm pleading with them. Well, I'm pleading. We are not in normal times. And remember, all of these stakeholders and leadership that must help resolve these matters. We are either also going for elections or whether these are MPs, these are government functionaries, some are moving with the president. But this matter became so important for us that we had these things on Friday, ensure that Labour Commission gets the injunction, not because we don't want them to go on strike, but because we want to talk.
But are these issues that can be resolved before the elections?
Oh, sure. I mean, they tabled about 8 or 9 new issues which they brought. 6 of them have virtually been resolved. We are just left with about 2 or 3. And we can do this. We have a president. We have a president who is so mindful of Ghana, who is so mindful, especially our health.
My conversation and understanding yesterday was that out of the 9, you only agreed to 1. So it's a bit surprising to hear that 6 of them you're in the process of.
We have agreed in principle to like 6 of them. And as part of negotiations, what we do all the time is when we agree, we even go back and update. I mean, we do arrears, we do whatever. So it's not as if we are agreeing and will not pay you. Please.
So what are the so sir, you know, because this morning we've listened to patients and we've seen them waiting. People who have appointment, people who are not well, who have gone to the facilities, and they are still just sitting around and waiting. So what have we reached? What have we decided? What are we paying them exactly? Because Mama, you know we have to reach a certain compromise.
That is my worry, and I share in your worry. I'm an ardent viewer and listener to your program. So this morning, when I heard you on the paper review, it's as if we are not minding the nurses and we have created the problem and brought us where we are. The problem we have here, since even 2019, I mean, let me not go too back, 2019, we asked them that bring your matters and let's talk. While we do so with the doctors, while we do so with the pharmacists, sometimes some of these issues, discussing them on air is not too pleasant because matters of labor and government are just like marital issues. We don't discuss them openly. But there are things that go on behind the scene. We have spoken to them. Minister Bafwewa will be the last person you see talking to the media. It's because he thinks that anything labor can be discussed without media attention. And so we are pleading with them. We've gone very far. We've gone very, very far. All the allowances that we've said, you can speak to Perpetua. She will tell you that we initiated the fact that we need to go to the whole country and tour the facilities. We had meetings with the facility managers, seeing how best they could pay some of these things at the facility level. For instance, on-call allowance. These are allowances we cannot put on payroll because they come as and when we need to pay you. And therefore, the facilities have pledged. Dr. Boade, who is the Director General, has assured that the facilities, even they can't pay, they should let us know so that we see which one government can support. Some of these things are all on the table. I cannot understand why all of a sudden we will ambush anybody. The law anticipated this. That is why he said, we give you 7 days. Give them notice within 7 days. We had the notice on Thursday. And feverishly, we have called all our members. I am MP for Himai Lower Dengra. Friday, I was in the constituency. I had scheduled meetings. I had to cut them short, defying my chiefs and all that and coming to Accra because this is very important. We cannot allow this to happen. So I'm appealing to them through my minister and through His Excellency the President. All of them must get back to work and the leadership should meet us.
So you're making this appeal, but the National Labour Commission has gone to court to get them to come back. What would we see in the next couple of days? Otherwise, what would we see today, tomorrow? Give us some assurances. There are patients watching you.
In fact, by close of today, if the union said they had not even seen the injunction, as at today, yesterday was a holiday. Today, we will formally ensure that they are served. And then by close of business today, I am pretty sure, I am very, very sure that they would order all their staff to go back to work. And tomorrow, Labour Commission has summoned all of us to the meeting. So we are going to meet tomorrow and start constructive engagement and ensure that in the shortest possible time, this matter is resolved.
Finally on this matter, sir.
I must put on record that, please, it is not everything which we can, grant all the requests. So the name is negotiation. When we come to tables with entrenched positions, it becomes difficult for government. Because we need to reconcile demands with the figures and statistics of events and things that we have. So it is not as easy as it is. When I was in the private sector, I saw things differently. But coming into government, it is something else. So
well, we appreciate that. We appreciate that, and thank you for saying that. But just finally, I want to say that when you're talking, don't you realize that it is coming to this point where they're going to say they're laying down their tools? Can't you stop it before it gets to this point?
No, we anticipate. Even the proponents of the law anticipate that any time you talk, there is likely that one will not understand and one will say, no, I'll go on strike or lockout. So the law anticipates all of these. So the question is, will you also put to the nurses that the 7-day notice, have you given 7-day notice to your employer? That's a legitimate.
Did you meet them last Friday or not? Because I understand there was a meeting, but the meeting was interested in knowing why they wanted to go on the action instead of continuing with the negotiation.
But that is even a first step. That's even a first step. If you are back on something and then we call you, I heard that they wanted to have a formal invitation to the meeting. I called my minister immediately. We called Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to send them formal letter that government wants to meet you. And when we meet, the first question legitimately is, why are you going on strike when we can sit down and talk? So it is legitimate, Mama. It's legitimate. Talk to them and ask them that, why are they also not respecting the 7-day notice which they have to give to government?
Well, we will leave the conversation here, but just to say that around this period, it's a very tricky time. If you embark on an action like this, you should have your issues resolved because the election is just around the corner and everybody knows that you can't afford to play with that. So you should also be mindful of that. But thank you for your time.
I have heard that some of them are saying government is intimidating them and so on. I think that they are rather also even holding us to hostage. They are also intimidating us. So please, let's get to the table. I am pleading with them. I meet all of them. We speak and we talk. And the kinds of things that government must do to them, if they would bear with me and also be very frank with, you will see that this government has been very responsive. Anytime you call Admamenu, he's ready. If you call Bafwewa, he's ready. The finance minister has always, if not they've been represented by Abna in all of these.
Well,
so we should get back to the table and talk. I'm pleading with them that we should go back to the hospitals and clinics and health. Those in Accra and Kumasi can have access and go to private facilities. But those in our rural communities, it's a big issue. So please, they should let them go back, respect the law, and then come and sit with us tomorrow.
Well, on behalf of the people, we need you to resolve this issue immediately. Thank you very much for your time, sir. That's a Deputy Employment Labour Relations Minister, Bright Reko Brobe there. Let's jump straight away to Voters' Voice. Today, we're concentrating on first-time voters, and we're asking what will influence their decision in the 2020 polls. And the destination is Oti and Eastern Regions. Hear our voices.
How about you?
Yeah, I'll be voting.
You?
I'll be voting. Yeah.
Okay, you too.
I'll vote.
You vote?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
I'll surely vote.
Okay, so let's start from you again. What will influence your vote come December 7th?
Because of the good things the president has done for us, especially our schools, dormitories, and dining food. Those things that will manage me, help me to vote.
And what is special about those ones?
They give us good foods, help us books, a lot of things that help us write our words. For me, I'm a final year student. That help us, so we'll continue from there.
What will influence your vote on December 7th?
As I'm sitting, I'm a student. And
Have you not completed?
No, yeah, I'm in second year now.
But you are a first-time voter. Okay.
Nana has done a lot for me. And to tell you the truth now, my background is not good in case of this financial support and things. Me going to school, if I were to be in the house, if it were not because of this free education, I don't think I will be in SHS2 now. Because this admission fee and things, I don't think my parents can afford it. So as he came controlling Ghana, I think it has helped me a lot. Yes.
So those are the things that will influence your vote come December 7th. Okay, let's talk to you. What will influence your vote come December 7th?
As for me, I'm voting for GUM. Because
why GUM?
Because all the presidents that come, they did not do anything that I see. So I just want to vote to GUM. Just like maybe he will come and he can do something better for us.
Okay, you want to change and have a feel of another party?
Oh yes.
Okay. Then what will influence your vote?
My influence would be I should vote for John Mahama because I want him to come and do more things for us.
Let's be specific. What policies about John Mahama will influence you to vote for him?
Because he was doing a road before we remove it from the seat. So I want him to come back again.
I just want to vote for a good person because I don't follow this thing quantity. I rather follow quality. I mean, to my experience, nowadays the economic is very hard and we have a low network rules and even the school system too has changed.
So looking at the political terrain now, what policies are of interest to you? What policy will you say that no, I like this one, I like that one? Tell me.
The one that I like the free education, the SS free and it can help because me, I'm from poverty house and we don't have enough money. So through this, I can able to finish my JHS.
Are you still in school or you have completed?
Yeah, too. I mean,
second year.
Yeah.
Okay. But you are a first-time voter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is my first time, and also to this thing, our jobs. I mean, this youth, we don't have many jobs. This in one factory, one down. I'm not seeing it. Even in our district too, we are lack of that, and I hope if that will we get more jobs, and we can get more money.
So for you, if you have one district, one factory in the KTB district here, it will be okay for you?
Our parents to get more jobs from it, especially if my mom is selling over there, he will create more income to take care of myself and other people. That one will increase our economical grow up.
So for you, the free SHS is solid, it's okay for you, but you want to see more of the factories, more of the job opportunities in the district?
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, so what policies are of interest to you?
I want him to come back so that we can have a job to do, so that we get our own pocket money.
Okay, so policies that will give you jobs is what you want. Yes, let's talk to you.
As for me, I just want to vote maybe we will get jobs to do when GUM come. I'll get job because he said he will do company for us. We, the people we play school, we go start the way. So me too. That is this thing. That's why I'm voting.
So you want job opportunities. All right. What do you make of the political atmosphere? You know what happened before, and after the registration, and now we are going into the election proper. What do you think? You think the atmosphere is okay? We are safe? Just about that.
The first-time voters, we want to find out from them what will inform their decision to vote this year.
I didn't benefit from free SHS, so I want my little sisters and then brothers to gain the education that is in the free SHS. And secondly, for my development, the youth and then the nation. That's the reason why I want to vote.
Okay, so for your own development in the nation, what exactly are you looking at?
My dream is to become a military personnel. And me being a military personnel, it will make me proud, and then I'll look proud in my uniform. That is the main reason why I want to vote this year. And then the president who wants to win this year, we are all going to be together to vote.
Are you a first-time voter?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so tell us why you vote this year. What will inform your decision to vote this year?
I'm not sure I'll vote.
Why?
Because I don't see anything like what our president. I don't see anything. They are not doing anything for us, and I don't think I'll vote.
Okay.
Making correct roads. Building hospitals, schools, and a whole lot. Yeah.
Okay. So if you get somebody who do all these things, you're going to vote the next time?
Yeah, I think I'll vote.
What will inform your decision to vote this year?
My decision to vote for this year is I just want the president to
give us more schools, more roads, to construct more roads for us, and whatever the need of the poor need, they should help of it.
I'm just encouraged with the work of the president. I wish he continues what he's doing, and we also look forward for more work and improvements in his what he's doing. So I'm looking forward for more social amenities, and we wish he do more things to improve the country.
Okay, as for this year, we need a good president. A president who cares much about Ghana. Like a president who will not bring any conflict through Ghana, and we need a president who will make Ghana proud. That's what we need.
Okay, so when you talk of making Ghana proud, what exactly do you mean?
Like we need like a president who will bring peace to Ghana. Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, we need somebody who will build roads, and even our water and our electricity. Our electricity costs much because we need the electricity that will help us to learn more. As for me, I'm a student, so we need a person who will bring electricity to Ghana to let us learn more. That's what we need.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Voters' voice earlier from the Oti region, and then Koforidua in the eastern region. You had voices there of persons who have turned 18 who are voting for the first time in the upcoming general elections. Let's have a conversation with Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist with the University of Ghana, who's joining us via Zoom. Good morning to you, sir. Very grateful for your time again on Voters' Voice today. Hello, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. All right, unfortunately, we seem to have lost him there. We will come back and see if we can establish the connection with him on first-time voters and what usually is the trend. Is there any analysis there to discover? Stay with us. We have an eye on the police. We have to monitor them. Let's speak to Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante now, who's a political scientist at the University of Ghana on the back of the new first-time voters, really, and their expectations. They've been talking about what would influence them. Dr. Asah-Asante, good morning to you again. Thank you for joining us on Voters' Voice.
Morning.
Okay, thank you, sir. I don't know how much of the voices we played I'm not sure how much of that you heard, but I want to ask if there is a certain trend from your studies in terms of the choices that first-time voters tend to make.
I listened to just a few of them, but it is clear from the few that I listened to that there are things or factors that are going to influence their choices. One, they are looking at the personality of the political party, and which is one of the factors responsible or that makes it possible for voters to make informed choices. They want to find out who is leading the country, the qualities of that person, and all that. And you heard them talking about this time and again. Another point that also came out is that they wanted the president to be given another chance so as to continue the good policies and so forth and so on. This is nothing about what we call the rational choice perspective. People want to find out what they can derive from that exercise of voting for a president for a country. Mm-hmm. So the kids or the students, let me put it this way, were saying that, hey, we need somebody who will be able to deliver the public goods, and at the end of the day, we will benefit from it. Tied to that was a statement from one of them saying that he was not ready to vote because he's not seeing any benefit that he derived from. All these things are part of this type of conversation we're talking about. And it is part of the reasons why people vote. Of course, people want to see parties building on their records to develop their state. And not only that, they also want policies and programs that will support their efforts as citizens of the state. So it's a whole lot of factors that are driving voters into making decisions during elections. And the children are obviously demonstrating that.
Picking it, or this is influence from the home, from what the parents believe in?
Oh, definitely there will be some level of influence from that point because children look up to their parents as role models, and that's part of the political socialization. So definitely what they discuss at home, the parties that the parents believe in will obviously be part of their consideration, and that will inform most of their choices. Only a few of them will want to go outside what the family believes in and venture into other areas. But more often than not, they follow their parents at this level. They follow their parents, and they believe that whatever political tradition or ideologies that their parents believe in, they should also follow the same line. If they see their parents as real role models, which, of course, children do have that type of thinking. But I must say that there are some who deviate from this. They will want to stand alone as people who want to have something different from what the family generally is thinking along. And that is also a fact. But apart from all that, they want to also see real messages that will also improve their lot. And it is incumbent on the political party to develop very good messages for people in this age bracket. They are influenced by things such as the media, the kind of thing the media channel inside them. So this is a time that political parties should be very, very, very innovative and come out with messages that will resonate with this students. Messages that will influence their choices.
Okay. Well, it's good you said that, because I was just going to ask if there is a deliberate attempt to target these first-time voters by the political parties, because we've seen them box all their promises together, targeting all of us. But do they deliberately target these first-time voters?
No party will look at these children without developing messages that will influence their choices. No party, worth a sort. Remember, political parties exist first and foremost to win power and form government. That's their motive. So, and remember, the name of the game is what? Numbers. So once you get the numbers right, you are going to win. Remember, you can only become a president when you have 50% plus one vote. Just one vote. So every vote counts. So why would they leave out these people who are legitimate voters of this country? Definitely they will target them and develop messages that will influence their choices. They are excited about the media. They are excited about things that will really improve their lives. And at this level, they are also excited about family tradition. So it's one of the considerations. So parties will do everything to rope them in so as to vote for them. And for me, any party that will turn a blind eye to this thing, you have your fingers bent. You have shot yourself in the foot, so to speak.
Well, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, I thank you very much for your time. He's a political scientist with the University of Ghana, helping us understand the influences with the first-time voters on Voters' Voice. Voters' Voice is back on air on Thursday, God willing. When we come back, the Ghana Chamber of Mines presents they're talking about the National Safety Week. There's more coming up. Well, this next conversation really is on how to make health and safety an integral part of our daily lives. Let me introduce my guests. Philip Thompson is an occupational health and safety superintendent, Golden Star Bogoso Prestia Limited. He's joining us via Zoom. And also Dr. Kodia Dapa is manager health, safety and environment with Chirano Gold Mines. Okay, Philip is here and Dr. Kodia rather is joining us via Zoom. So good morning to you first of all. Thank you for joining. And then Dr. Kodia, if you can hear me, a very good morning to you as well as you join us on Zoom.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Doctor.
Okay, so let's start this way. Can you both help us understand how important community health and safety, especially among our rural folks, especially with the kind of work that you do? Let's start from Zoom. I'll come back to you in the studio.
Okay.
Dr. Kodia, let's begin with you.
Thanks. I think the core spirit of safety is the presence of positives or competence, and not absence of negatives. And in this discussion, the strongest link is people. And people form the strongest link regards to safety, competence in safety. In that sense, we set people as the strongest, the highest focus in terms of safety management. And for that reason, the community people, we see them as part of us. They are our partners in development. And let's not forget that some of our employees also stay in the community. So the community and the mining operator, like in a tango dance, they are in tandem, and the two they form as one. In that sense, whatever affects the community affects the mining. And on the mine side, safety is number one priority. So by natural extension, safety and health of the people in the community becomes a focal point for discussion too.
Okay. All
so
right.
that's how safety is important to us as far as the community and health safety is concerned.
Yeah. Philip, I want you to continue, but also help us appreciate with the experiences on the ground.
Yeah. Safety and health is very important in our everyday life. And as Doc said, if you are operating in a mine or you are in a community and you are not taking your safety principle or protocols important, it's very, very difficult for you to survive. The work we do is with so many hazards and risk. So safety is paramount in everything that we do. In our catchment communities, as Doctor said, we are with them. And most of our employees also stays in the community. So safety starts from their home and it ends up at the work site, back to back. So safety is very important in everyday life.
I was just going to say, it must be difficult, or is it difficult if a person, first of all, is not aware of these guidelines before they get into the mines? Because then it means you're teaching them from scratch, something that you want imbibed in them.
Yes. It starts from home, and this is what I say always, that the question that you need to keep asking yourself as a person in the community or someone who is vying to work in the mine is that what will I do that will get me hurt, or what will hurt me, or what will cause ill health to my life. So these things are the things that we preach in the community and as well as at the website, so that to be part of their everyday life.
Dr. Kodia Dapaah, let me come to you particularly with this pandemic, the COVID-19, and how important are health and safety protocols around this period, Dr. Kodia Dapaah?
Yeah, okay. I think one of the core facets of safety is risk management, and the pandemic form part of risk. In that sense, of course, it becomes making sure that going by the risk management protocols could be extended to the pandemic. And the key aspect of risk management protocol is avoiding or eliminating the risk if you go by the hierarchy of control, or you're trying to control it. So the pandemic was seen or is seen as a risk. And in that sense, you need to manage it by following the protocols on the risk management. First thing is eliminating it or avoiding it, and trying to control it through engineering control taking the affected out of the equation, or the travel path, the medium of transmission out of the equation, or at the generating point where the source of the pandemic is out of it. So that's how it forms part of the risk management, and that's how it's seen in terms of managing it under the protocols of safety.
How hard has it been trying to change mindsets around this period?
Yeah, I think it's at one point, I think it's challenging in the sense that on one side of it, as far as the mining operation is concerned, I think it's heavily regulated. It's a disciplined industry. However, when you go off the fence, some of us may have impression that now there is no need for compliance. But we're trying to integrate this, like Thompson said, is from home to workplace and back home. Right to safety is right to return home safe. So that's how it's being seen. It's a journey, and you never get to your destination. It's like sweeping water uphill. If you stop, it flows back. So it continues so long as you remain in the industry.
And Philip here, I want to start with, because I know that you have some basic first aid and safety tips to share with us to get us to be conscious, especially the young ones. So where do we begin that?
Okay, children and people in the community. I'll focus more on the community where we operate, because there are certain things that people ought to know to help them. For instance, someone has gone to the farm and is bitten by a snake in the community. What do I do? So there are simple things that you can do to prevent the person's condition from getting worse.
But you make this your business, even though the scenario that you paint right now is not a typical mining situation.
Yes, but our job also extends to the bush. Our geologists, our exploration guys are always with the community guys. They work in the bushes. And,
so the community problem essentially is also
our
your problem.
Yes. So we ought to educate our community members as to how to take care of themselves when they encounter with such issues.
So one is what you're just sharing with the snake bites.
Snake bites.
Okay.
Yeah, so snake bites simply something that you can do to prevent the venom from getting to your system. So when someone is bitten with snake, you just have to quickly let the person lie down, raise and support the upper body, so that the venom will not flow through up to cause problems to the person. And then you would have to look at where the bait is. So you apply a direct pressure with a pressure bandage or anything that you find, let's say a rag, you can tie it around that place, and then monitor if there is a blood flow. Then you can also extend the tying of the bandage or the pressure bandage or the rag up, and then you keep the person still. Then you call for help. So that the venom will not flow into circulation to
So this is something that you practically teach them?
We practically teach them in the community. And then we have yearly program that is the safety competition, where we train the community members. We bring them together, we take them through training, first aid training, and then we go and compete at the zonal level, and then so those that we have trained go back into the community to also train their people. So the education continue to spread, so that people are more conscious about how to take care of themselves when they are encounter with such issues.
This is good. I'm impressed. I didn't think it's extended to the entire community.
It is
like that, like the way you're saying it. And Dr. Kodi Adapa, what other safety tips would you want to share with our viewers, and what have you been doing on the ground that you'd like to share with us?
I think one of the key things is in terms of enhancing the competency of the community members, which Philip said is true. We train them and we compete. One important thing is also to empower them. And the empowerment is through coaching, creating the awareness, and then making the first aid as part of their way of doing things. It's part of life. Get it integrated into their cultures, especially at school and at home. And then, of course, together it gets embedded in their life. And then we all co-create a future for Ghana through the kids who will be our future leaders. So this is how, in a nutshell, we can enhance safety on the mine site, which is mostly high, and getting the community to also to be at the same level, so that we all enjoy. Because like I said, the right to safety is the right to return home. And when you return home safe, then the family will be happy and everybody will be happy. It's always bad to see yourself or a colleague being part of the safety statistics because of carelessness, recklessness, and maybe not following the protocols, leading to injuries, either at home or at workplace. So the best way for us to remain safe, and the right thing to do is to return home safe. So that's what I will add to what Philip has said.
Okay, so Philip, I understand there's also a way when somebody's choking.
Yes.
Okay, can you, because I'm interested, our viewers would learn one or two from the things you're saying.
Sure. When someone is choking, if the person is conscious, you encourage the person to cough.
Okay.
So if you cough, it might be possible that the obstruction will be dislodged. If it doesn't happen, then you go to the next level, which is back blows. You give the person back blows. Yes, so you lean the person forward, and between the two shoulder blades, then you use the heel of your palm, using your right hand, supporting the stomach, lean him or her forward, and then you give 5 back blows.
The way you say the blows, it means it's not gentle.
Just the heel. It's not gentle. You see, you need to go through a little pain to also dislodge, because you will be, you will not be feeling comfortable if you are unable to breathe well. And then if that one, after the 5 blows, you check whether the thing has come out. If not, then you go to the next level, which we call abdominal thrusts. The abdominal thrust, you would have to locate the navel base, and then you interlock your hand, and then you press. You let the person lean forward. You press in and up.
Okay.
The content
in and up.
In and out.
Okay.
So if the object is in there, it will come out.
Okay.
So that one too, you do it 5 times, and then you check. If it doesn't, you need to continue the cycle whilst you call for an emergency ambulance to, come to your aid.
Okay.
But going through this process, I believe it will come out. It's something that is proven. Yeah.
Okay. So whilst you were talking, Doc, you wanted to say something from your reaction?
No, I just in support of my good friend Thompson, Philip. Yeah, he's done it. He's made it as simple as possible. I don't think I can do better than he's done now. For now.
Okay. So whilst I'm still trying to get the tips from the two of you, let's concentrate on bends, because there's also a way out with bends.
Yes.
Please help us with the steps.
Okay, bends. We have 3 types of bends. We have the scar. That is when you are cooking and the vapor, you open the saucepan and, water has, pour on your body. And then we also have hot burns, which when you are cooking or something burns, something hot burns you.
Say hot water pours on your, on a part of your body.
Exactly. So what you just need to do is to flood the place with cold water, just normal cold water, for at least 10 minutes.
Okay.
So whilst you are cooling, the pain will be easing. So after the 10 minutes flooding with the place with water, cold water, after 10 minutes, if the pain has subsided, then you can, cover it with a plain plastic bag.
Okay.
Doing that, you are trying to prevent infection, because the skin is exposed now to germs. So we just have to cover it.
Okay.
Now, if it is very severe, it might affect even the person's breathing. So in that sense, that one, quickly you need to flood the place with water, whilst you check the person's vital signs.
Okay.
To check whether he's breathing, whether the person is, not deteriorating. So I've been gone through flooding at least 10 minutes, you check. And then if the pain has subsided, if it has been relieved, then you cover it with a clean plastic bag or kitchen film, so to prevent, the place being infected.
Okay.
And also, you need to remove, if there is any jewelry or watches around the affected area, because the next thing is the person, the area is going to swell. So you need to take all those things out so that it doesn't, swell and you have it be difficult removing it. Because
so this is this is the first aid before you seek extra
medical care. Yes.
Okay. There's dog bites as well.
Yes. Dog bite, simply you just have to use soap and warm water to wash the bitten place.
Normal soap?
Normal soap.
Okay.
Just normal soap with the warm water. Then you wash it, this to reduce the risk of infection.
Okay.
And then after, you cover it with sterile dress, and then you take the person to the clinic. If the wound is deep, it's deep and wide, you need to take the person to a hospital for further treatment.
Okay, so the final one will be if a person falls from the stairs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, when someone falls from the stairs, a lot of things happen. One, the height where the person is falling from, to the age of the person. If the person is an old person or very young, it should also be taken into consideration. And you should also take into consider where he landed and how the person landed. Now, there's a possibility that he might sustain some fractures or spinal injury. So in that case, you don't have to unnecessarily move the person. The first thing that you have to suspect, depending on the mechanism of injury, you suspect that the person might have a spinal injury. So first you have to, stabilize the head, because if the head is stabilized, then the neck is, the neck is not going to move anyhow. But if
so that's to firm up the neck.
Firm up, you stabilize the neck.
Okay.
And then if there are bystanders or any person around, you ask the person to have a towel or cloth and then fold it around the neck while you keep stabilizing the head. So whilst doing that, you'll be checking the person's vital signs, the breathing, and then you call for help. Because you don't need to move the person unnecessarily. And then you have to also inform the person he shouldn't be moving himself unnecessarily because there's a risk of having a spinal injury.
Well, thank you for teaching us these things. Dr. Kodia Dapaah, just what Philip's been sharing, these are some of the things that you've been doing on the ground. We thought you just concentrate on your minds, but you do a whole lot more than that. So thank you. But how helpful has these tips been for the people in the communities where you operate?
Yeah, it's very helpful in the sense that just take it that anytime there is an emergency in the community, they would like to fall back on the mine for assistance. So long as you continue to maintain and keep the community safe, yes, then you can also rest assured that you can have a good sleep without thinking about what is happening during the night. So it's very important that we share our knowledge and skills with them. At the end of the day, when it comes to job opportunities, some of them also come back to the mine to work for us. So once the person is well skilled, he has a skill set in terms of the core duty of safety and health, he then is already the first step into the mine. So it's very important, and like Philip said, some of our community, some of our players, our employees also stay within the community. So in that sense, it's like the community and the mine, they are in one spirit. So once the mine is well, the community is well, and the mine is well too.
Well,
so
thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Kodia Dapaah, who is Manager Health, Safety and Environment with Chirano Gold Mines. Happy National Safety Week, I must say to you. And then also Philip here. Philip Thompson is Occupational Health and Safety Superintendent with Golden Star, Bogoso Prestia Limited.
Yes.
So you guys are competitors.
Yes.
I didn't feel that in that conversation.
Okay, when it comes to safety, there's no competition.
Yes.
Our core mandate is to ensure that everybody who comes to work go home back safely.
Yeah.
So there's no competition when it comes to safety.
Absolutely.
It is something that we all want to, learn together and practice together to ensure that everyone is safe.
Well, thank you very much for the tips that you shared as well. Well, thanks to the Ghana Chamber of Mines for this conversation, really. Stay with us. We've got the National Science and Maths Quiz, the trivial question, and the updates. We're done with all the other stages. Where we are going to is the 1/8. We're done with the preliminary stage. We're going to the 1/8 stage of the competition. So what must you know? But have you also attempted my trivial chemistry question today? If you haven't, time's up. Stay with us. Welcome to our NSMQ trivial segment, and it's a Chemistry Tuesday today. Here's our question for today. I'm just going to go over the question, and then we'll try and see the answers that have come through. Enyonam loves to cook vegetable stew, but every time she chops onions, she cries. Explain her reaction and how it can be kept. Quickly, we're just going to go to Facebook and see what comments you've been sending through in terms of the answers that you're giving to us. So Alisa says, Enyonam wish her mom was around to cook for her. I guess you're just kidding. This one says, Enyonam should make goggles out tomatoes and wear them. That's a way to curb. Eric says, thank you for the question. There's a liquid called cephalagarin. Is that correct? In the onions. It has a piercing and itching effect, which when it comes into contact with the eye, it causes liquicidor. Hence the need to wear life or medical goggles to is evidential cure for Enyonam to prevent such effects. That's a very scientific answer. Godfred says, Enyonam is crying in advance for fear she might chop her hand too. Oh, Charlie. Robert says she could chew gum while chopping the onion. That's correct. It's a way to curb. Denmark Chris says she should wear face shield when chopping onions. That's a useful face shield. Ronnie says she should cover her eyes with the blood of Jesus. Okay, you're also kidding. Francis says, and you should stay away from onions. That's impossible, Francis. Mohammed says, Enyonam should please stop chopping onions. Absolutely impossible. So let's find out. There's a simple way that there's a scientific explanation to this, but there are also ways to curb it. I've seen some of the ways in terms of wearing the goggles. Also, somebody says chewing gum. That's a way to do it. Somebody says shield. Well, that's an innovative one. Maybe you could try. But let's find out some of the answers that have come through on our WhatsApp page. And then we're going to call one of the persons who put this an answer through, and then we will try and get the explanation. So this is Sichofer's response, correct? Okay, we're going to get Sichofer. Is she on the line to explain what she has sent to us? Sichofer says, as onions grow, they absorb sulfur from the soil. Onions also contain special enzymes that lie in reserve, ready to break down those sulfurous molecules. Very scientific explanation. We've also got a teacher, Kwesi Techi ASL York, with Presec Legon. Remember, he joined us last week. He's back with us via Zoom to tell us if this is correct or not. So who do we have? So we can do this rather quickly. Sichofer, good morning to you. Hello, Sichofer.
Good morning.
Okay. Yes, Sichofer, good morning. How long ago did you finish school?
I completed SHS in 2004.
Oh, and you still remember your science. Okay, please explain your answer to us.
Just like I said, the soil has sulfur. It has a lot of nutrients in them. Okay, and then as you plant onions, onions growing on their own, they absorb the sulfur from the soil. Okay. And then the onion, the sulfur is left there, and then the onion has some enzymes which only attach to the sulfur only when you cut it or you crush it. Okay. So when they come together, as you cut, they evaporate. And then when it enters your eye, that's what causes us to tear. We understand.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sichofe. But let me cross over to our teacher. Mr. Kwesi Techi SL York, good morning. Was she correct in her explanation or not?
Yeah, very correct, accurate. Very correct, accurate. From the background of the growing of the onions and then the sulfur content in the soil and then the possible enzyme in the onion and all of that, she is very accurate, very accurate. But there is the chemistry attached to this one that can be said, and that is the reactions that we can actually mention. So if I should take us through that one, that would not be bad for us.
Okay. All right. Well, we have to leave it here because of time. So we thank you very much for your time. All right.
Okay,
that's our teacher with Legon. We're also going to put up his number, God willing, tomorrow. So if you want to get in touch with him further on chemistry stuff, that will be absolutely possible. And this is where we have to end the show today from the trivial NSMQ segment. I want to say thank you to Bright Senior High School in Kokrontumi, also DBS Roofing, Adonko Hand Sanitizer, Adonko Next Level. They proudly bring us this segment. They make it possible for us to broadcast the National Science and Maths Quiz and all the conversations around it. Join us tomorrow, Wednesday, for another edition. Until then, take care of what is beautiful. I'll see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Bye for now.